Oh, yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are already 5 minutes late. Thank you for coming back again. And we're going to start our second part of the policy SIG meeting. And before going to the main agenda, I just like to remind you that the consensus process that we'll consider mailing this discussion in this open policy meeting, also feedback from the remote participants, and we'll ask for show of hands at the end, whether you support, whether you strongly support, neutral, you do not support, or strongly do not support. And for the remote participants, there's an opportunity to raise their voice using Confer to get their consensus. And active members, you can use MyEthnic to participate. And non-Ethnic members, if you have a registered account from Ethnic 44 or in this meeting, here, you can do that. If you still do not do that, you can still register to Confer and create your new account and participate in the Confer consensus process. And there are options to change your password. If you forgot your old password, you can reset it. So now, actually, I'd like to move to the agenda of the meeting. And the first discussion is by Brajesh Jain, that NRONC and ASO-AC update. Brajesh, are you here? Thank you.
Thank you, Suman, and thank you for the opportunity to provide ASO-AC update. As you would know that this is part of the every ethnic meeting, a short presentation is given, and of course, I and other members, for example, Aftab and Henry, they are also here, and they could also be touched upon for any information which may be sought. Grievance pressed? You all know, but let me brief for some of you who are new. ICANN, ASO-AC, Address Council. Who is it? In the morning, we have already seen an arrow number council is equal to ASO Address Council. How is it organized? 15 members, 3 from each region, 2 elected at large by the community, 1 appointed by RIR board. And there are also RIR and ICANN observers in the meetings of ASO-AC. Term of office, it is different for every RIR. For example, ethnic. It is for elected members, it is 2 years, and for RIR board, it is 1 year. In some regions, it is 3 years and 2 years. What does it do? It is, of course, trying to find out, but advise ICANN board, select ICANN boards, 2 numbers, seat 9 and 10, and select ICANN a NomCom member. When does it meet? It meets telephonically, monthly, or more if required on some important or urgent or emergency measure. And there is a face-to-face meeting which happens once in a year. For example, 2018 face-to-face meeting will happen in Puerto Rico at ICANN 61. Could I go forward? So have 15 members, Address Council elects ASO-AC chair every year in December as per ASO-AC procedure, open nomination, and if necessary, online confidential ballot. ASOAC facilitates a selection of 2 vice chairs in ASOAC meeting, and typically in January next year, and term for chair and vice chairs is 1 year. For the information, 2018 address council members, there is Afrinic, you could see the names, Omo, Mukangu, Fiona, Apnic, we have Aftab, which morning he was leading the ASO review discussion, myself, and Henry, if you raise your hands, if you could stand up. Erin, Jason, Kevin, Louis, Lacnic is George, and we call it Hore actually, Ricardo, Hamut, Raip NCC is Nurani, Phyllis, Harve. Nurani was here in the morning. Are you here? And as you know, in the month of December, ASOAC elected Aftab Siddiqui as chair of ASOAC. So 2018, Aftab is ASOAC chair. So he has a more role in the ASOAC review now process. So he will be able to interact more actively with the other RIRs as well as with the ICANN. And Kevin Bloomberg from Erin, Ricardo Patara from LACNIC are the vice chairs. And as per the process, they were elected in January ASOAC meeting. Just we heard in the morning that ASO, just for reference, 2018 NRO Executive Council, of course, there's a chair, and they have their own process of electing this. Paul from Epnic is the chair this year. Vice chair and secretary is Alan from Afrinic. Treasurer Excel members Oscar and John Karan from Erin. Just to very quickly brief you, ASOAC activities, ICANN board selection, seat 9 is underway. Nomination phase is complete. Comment phase is on right now, which will happen till 18th March. Interview committee is already formed. So there will be interview phase, selection phase, diligence, and announcement of seat 9 by ASOAC for ICANN board position should be around mid-May. ASOAC activities is one of the key activities is global policy management. Basically, each region observes each RIR's policy forum if new global policy is formed. 2018 policy proposal facilitator team is created. When there is some proposal comes up, it is this team which is supposed to coordinate and bring it to various RIRs, and you can see the names here. While there has not been any particular global policy over the last few years, there is very recent one proposed. I will just outline, it is just not formalized. The global proposal says, and this is just for preliminary information, for assigning resources at global level, it proposes creation of a virtual RIR. Now that and this is coming from LACNIC. So this will be discussed in more detail later, and you may look at the websites. Activities of ASO are available at this site, and as Aftab informed in the morning that ASOAC meetings, face-to-face meeting in ICANN would now be possible, will be open to the public as well. Of course, there will be a small closed section if required. That's all for me for the time being, and I will request any questions. Aftab has just entered. Any questions, suggestions? on this. If none, then I will thank.
Thank you,
the
Prajesh.
chair
Thanks for updating us
Thank
on
you.
LNC and SOAC updates. So our next speaker is Guangliang Pan. He will give NRO statistics report. Thank you, Rajesh.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Guangliang Pan. I'm the Registration Service Manager at Ipv6. Today, I would like to give you the NRO Internet Number Resource Status Report. This report is prepared by 5 RIRs. You will have a global view of the IP address and AS number delegations. The data in this report is up to 31st December 2017. First, let's look at the IPv4. You can see the graph here. It is the total IPv4 address space. We know that we have 256/8 in the IPv4 space. And out of that, 35 have been reserved by the IETF for technical reason. You can see that in the right-hand side, the small donut. And then also 91 of /8 has been delegated before the RIR existing. We call it central registry. And IANA allocated 130/8 to the RIRs. Ipv6 received 45, and Avon 36, Ethnic 5, and NENIC 9, and WebNCC 35. And you can see IANA's reserver is 0. This means IANA's central pool is running out. It happened in 2011. It is 7 years ago that IANA central pool is run out. And then after 7 years, how many IPv4 still in each IR's fee pool? So you can see this graph. And all of them is under 1/8 now. All the IRs, they don't have much IPv4. In Ipv6 case, we have about 33% of the last /8 still remain in our fee pool. In the last 7 years, it seems like we won probably 10% per year, so now down to about 30%. So based on that trend, maybe we have 3 years to come down to 0. So what happened after the 33% of the last /8 went down to 0? There's a policy proposal today, right after my presentation, will be discussed how Ipv6 should manage that. When this .33 went down to 0, and how Ipv6 should manage it. Currently, each Ipv6 account holder is able to receive up to /22 from the Philo /8 pool. Additional to that, they can also receive up to /22 from the recover pool. And the recover pool is empty at this stage. And Ipv6 created a waiting list for those approved requests. And there's a few hundred people waiting on the recover pool waiting list. I would like to share a bit more information on how each IR manage this remaining IPv4 pool. In Aaron's case, they went down to 0. This doesn't mean they don't have any IPv4 address space. They reserve a /10 for IPv6 transaction purpose, but they don't use for normal delegation. And all normal requests will be put into a waiting list. I just checked it before I come here. They have 228 people actually waiting on the waiting list. So they can request IPv4, but they have to put into the waiting list. Whenever with space return to the pool, then they based on the order to make the delegation. In WebNCC case, they also have a file accessory policy. Each account holder can receive a single prefix of /22. They actually fix size, everyone /22, make it very easy. Each account you can get /22. That's a very simple file accessory policy. And all the return will go back to the pool. And in that case, now they only delegate to new members. Only new member can require up to /22 from that remaining pool. And now, Ipv6 is the only IR can still do normal IPv4 allocation, but their stock is also low. It's about 76% of the file accessory. Let's look at the IPv4 delegation in the last, more than 10 years, since 1999. So we can see, since 1999, the IPv4 delegation was going up and reached to 2010, 2011. It was like a large allocation made in most of the regions. And after that, you remember 2011 was Diana pool went out. And after that, each IR delegation from the IPv4 pool also slowed down. You can see, come to 2017, is this the only attendee IPv4 delegated from all the IRs. And this is the total IPv4 delegation by each IR. You can see Ipv6 actually allocated more IPv4 than any other regions. And move on to the AS number. AS number allocation or assignment is very stable. You can see from 1999 to 2017, it is about 5,000, 6,000 AS number allocated each year. It's very stable. And here is the total AS number assigned by each IR. And WebNCC and Aaron is assigned more AS number than other region. They have more multi-homeling network, it means. Right now, most of the AS number is 4-byte AS number now. Since 2007, we start assign 4-byte AS number. And nowadays, most of the assignment is 4-byte AS number. And here is the total 4-byte AS number assignment in each IR region. So you can also see WebNCC delegated more 4-byte AS number as well. And after that is APNet. And finally, let's look at the IPv6. It is a global overview of the total IPv6 address space. You can see /3 from the total IPv6 IPv6 address is reserved for global unicast allocation. And out of that, it's only used very small, like about 6/12 has been used. And one of the /12 was delegated to all the IRs before 2006. And in 2006, IANA allocate 1/12 to each IRs. You can see the table in the right-hand side. That is the range of the IPv6 space in each IR region. And let's look at the IPv6 allocation since 1999. You can see from the beginning, there's not many allocations up to 2008 and 2009, and people start talking about the IPv4 exhaustion. So, and then compared to the IPv4 allocation, the IPv6 allocation was going up after that time. And here is the total IPv6 allocation in each IR. And you can see WebNCC actually allocated more IPv6 than other IRs. And APNet has allocated 5,217 IPv6 prefixes. And let's look at the IPv6 assignment as well. And we not only make allocation, we also make assignment to end user. So this is the IPv6 assignment status. And the IPv6 assignment was started in 2002. And also similar to IPv6 allocation, from 2010, the IPv6 assignment is going up. You can see the recent years, the IPv6 assignment is like quite high. And here is the total IPv6 assignment in each IR. WebNCC and APNet make quite large amount of IPv6 assignment compared to LELIC and Ethnic. And finally, let's see how many % of the members in each IR already received it, IPv6. You can see LELIC is actually over 90%, and WebNCC up to 72%, and APNet is 57% now. It's quite a good number this year, with over 50% at least. So you can see also Aaron 56, and only Ethnic is still just under 50%. But it's keep going up. The percentage of members receive IPv6 is keep going up. All these statistics you can find in the NIO statistic page, and also you can have those reference from the IANA number resource page. Any questions?
Thanks, Brajesh Jain here. I saw that APNIC has allocated the highest number of IPv4 addresses, but number of ASNs are lower than other regions. Is there any, do you have any idea of the region, any reason for the same?
Sorry, what?
IPv4 addresses are highest allocated by APNIC region, but whereas AS numbers are higher in ARIN and other regions.
Okay.
So is there any insight into that? Thank you.
Actually, it's a good question. Why IP address is like in APNet region is higher than other region, right? You probably know APNet region actually have more than 50% of the whole world population. The demand of the IPv4 or IP address actually higher than other region. And so we actually receive more IPv4 delegation from IANA. This is one reason. And about the AS number, I believe in Weapon CC and Arab region, the market is more open. They have more small networks. And in our region, I can see a lot of large networks, like for example, China Telecom, right? And Telstra. There are large networks, like quite a lot of these large networks. In some of the country, they probably not many small networks. Yeah. That is probably the reason.
Thanks.
Hi, Aftab Siddiqui. Thanks, Kong Liang, for the update. Quick question. What is the current state of 2-byte ASN pool in APNIC region? And how many requests we are getting for the 2-byte assignment? Just want to know if there is still some requirement left in the community.
Okay. For the 4-byte AS number, recently over 90% actually people ask for 4-byte, can able to accept. We allocate about 1,000 AS number per year around APNIC. So more than 900, I can say, is like they can accept 4-byte. And not many people ask for 2-byte at this stage, you know. I probably go back to the slide.
Do we have the numbers
Yeah, that's I need to go back to the slide. Can
for
I?
2 bytes?
Yeah. I don't have exact number in my head, but yeah. Okay, this is the 4-byte AS number assignment graph. We can see from last year, the yellow or gold bar is APNIC is about, we actually allocate 1,200 to 4-byte AS numbers. And compare with the total AS number assignment in last year, is also around like 1,200 by 300. Yeah, basically most of them is 4-byte now. Yeah, people quite happy to accept 4-byte.
Sorry, Aftab Siddiqui again. Just need to, I saw the numbers for 4-byte, that's why I was asking what is the remaining pool of 2-byte and how many requests you're getting for 2-byte, if you're getting any. You don't have to update me right now.
Yeah.
So if you can dig the numbers and can come back on the or update on the mailing list, that would be great.
For the 2-byte AS number pool, the IANA pool is empty. There's no more in the IANA pool, and each RIR still have some small amount of 2-byte AS number. In APNIC case, I believe we have 79 free level attached 2-byte AS number in our pool. The last delegation was 99, and we delegated 20, and we have 79 is untouched so far, still there. Yeah, just in case some members still need it, they can provide justification. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So in 2 years, we are back from 500 to 79. That's fine. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Rajesh here from India. I have a question. Whenever we are giving an allocation for IPv6, can't we take a voluntary disclosure kind of thing that, okay, over a period of some time, we'll release V4, which can be used as a recovered V4 pool?
It's a good question, but I think it is a policy decision, right? I think probably up to the chair. This question probably, right? Yeah.
Because there are a lot of large networks which are now deploying IPv6, right? I'm not saying it should be compulsory, but that can be a voluntary disclosure that, okay, over a period of next 1 year, 2 years, we'll release this many V4 pools as we are deploying V6.
There
Which
is
will
policy,
be
but I
helpful
think-
for the new networks to utilize.
After to say something on this?
Yeah, Aftab Siddiqui, as a member of the community, I would love to see this proposal and we will discuss it. Let's see how it goes.
Thank you. Actually, we would love to see that actually, but eventually what happened, still we do not see that much IPv6 take up and not seeing any possibility that people will voluntarily give up their IPv4 addresses.
See, absence of this policy is encouraging the brokerage and illegal resale of the IPv4. At least there should be some policy which can prevent this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this suggestion. We would love to see that, and I hope someone from the community will come up that proposal to encourage people to move to V6 and release their V4 addresses. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's good.
And you can also, if you have any good plan, you can also propose a proposal actually for the next meeting.
Thank you. Good to see a lot of questions. And I hope my presentation can help for the policy discussion as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Golgam, for your update on the global view of IP address and S number. So we'll move to our next agenda. We have another policy discussion. It's Prop 120, Final /8 Pool Execution Plan. You already heard from the Golgam presentation that we are almost at the end of our remaining block 103/8 block. So far there is no clear guideline in the policy what should we be doing after the execution. So Tomohiro Fujisaki, but he's not here today, but he will present remotely. Tomohiro, you ready for presentation? If you're ready, then we can straightforward go to the presentation.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Simon. Okay. I'm Tomohiro Fujisaki, and here I'll make a presentation about my proposal, Prop 120, Final /8 Pool Exhaustion Plan. Okay, first slide, this is objective of this proposal. I propose this to give a guidance for the final /8 as pool exhaustion. Okay, and this is a problem statement. Actually, as the Ghanaian state said, 103, this is final /8 address block, will run out soon, maybe in a few years. So we need a policy to manage such kind of situation. This is the proper statement. And this is slide shows the proposed policy solution. That it's very simple. So the solution is the first time request cannot be fulfilled, a waiting list will be created to the 103 address block, and that waiting list will be managed just same as the recovered pool, that is another IPv4 current pool. And I propose Ipv6 continue to manage two pools, the recovered pool and 103 address pool. And this figure shows my proposal. And the left part is the current situation. Just now, we have two IPv4 address pools. One is 103/8, this is final /8 pool, and another is IPv4 recovered pool. And members can get up to /22 from each pool. And as the Ghanaian said, explained, the current IPv4 recovered pool is empty and waiting list has created. And I propose to change this status as a right side. And if the final status block run out, the waiting list created will create just same as the IPv4 recovered pool. And LIR will apply the both pools. Just I propose it like this. And this is advantages and disadvantages. And I believe that with this policy, it is possible to avoid confusion when the final /8 pool run out. And I believe no disadvantages for this proposal. And also, I think no impact to the current resource holders with this proposal. And I got one question from Ipv6 Secretariat about the pool management. Actually, they asked me, so new users can get their IPv4 address from the non-103 pool, the pool of recovered pool. But yeah, yes, just now I proposed to, like this, approved new member requests up to /22 will be placed on the 103. So new member have to get first block from the 103 pool, and then they can request another block from the recovered pool. This is current proposal. And this is final slide, and I propose to managing final /8 pool exhaustion. Just create a new waiting list for the 103 block. And Ipv6 continue to manage two pools, two waiting lists, the recovered pool and for the recovered pool and the 103 address pool. Okay, that's all. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Tomori, for presentation. So, if I just want to, you present remotely, I just want to reiterate the summary of your proposal. Tell me if I am correct, then actually I'll go to the community for their feedback. So, what Tomori is proposing that when this 103 pool will be exhausted, then there will be a waiting list to be created, like what we already have for the recovered pool, and any new request come, that will go to that pool. But there is a question, the question to Ipv6 Secretariat who mentioned in the slide is very important, that if there is nothing left in the 103 exhaustion pool, but something in the recovered pool, then what will happen? So for that, there is a answer to that any member request, one request waiting list will go for the 103 pool, and another /20 request go to the recovered pool. So whichever he gets first, he will get the prefixes. Right, Tamiro?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much.
That's right.
So I would now like to open the floor for the community for any suggestions, feedback, comments, support, or against the proposal. Please, Mr. Brajesh.
Brajesh Jain here. I just wanted to understand that after 103/8 exhausts and a new member applies, he will be put in the waiting list of the 1038 only, as I understand. And chances of such waiting list, in my opinion, would be lower, which means that a person, existing company will be able to get additional /28 versus new person not getting it. So that may completely prevent from the new companies for getting the addresses. So maybe we could see that if you could have a common list, both waiting list for both new as well as additional IPs. This is my suggestions to be considered to Tomohiro-san for the.
Actually, that is not the proposal. It is mentioned that there will be requests go to the 103/8 pool, and another request for another /22 will be placed into the recovered pool. So there will be two requests going into two different places. So whichever comes first, he get an opportunity to get that prefixes.
So sorry for not understanding, but if the new company comes, he will be put in which list, which waiting list?
You know that all the existing member got a /123 and got 103 and also got from recovered pool earlier. And now in this situation, at this moment, a member can get I think Adam can.
New person who applies.
Probably Adam want to answer this question.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out for people who might not understand, there's an unusual part of the policy that says people must draw from 103 before they can be added to the recovered pool list. And so if there's nothing in 103, then they would never be added to the recovered pool list. So I think what Tomohiro is saying is if a new member comes, they get to both waiting lists. I think maybe what Brajesh is asking is that what you mean? So,
Yes, thanks, Adam. So long as a new member is able to get into queue, I'm
Two-
okay.
two
Thank you.
queues.
That is the proposal, actually.
That's my understanding.
Thank you.
Yeah, Guang Liang Pen from Ipv6 Secretary. I just want to clarify that, like, a new member come to Ipv6, right? They may be approved /22. That is easy. One prefix be put into a file /103 pool waiting list, right? And if they require for /21, so it will be 2/22. So we put in /22 for 103 and another /22 for a recover pool. So that is the case easy, right? But if they require less than a /22, they may require for a /24. So in that case, we put them into a 103 pool waiting list, right? And we don't put them into a recover pool waiting list. We only put them into the file CSA pool waiting list. In that case, is it that what I understand from the wording, from the answer from Tomohiro-san? All right, we put, if up to /22, we put them into 103 pool. If over /22, the above part we put into non-103 pool. That is what I understanding. Yeah.
But the
Tomohiro,
slide
is it
says
that what you-
differently,
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
If you look at the slide here,
Yeah. They say approve the new member request up to /22 will be placed on 103/A pool waiting list. Like just for example, they require for /24. So we approve it, and then we will put them into 103/A pool waiting list, right? It's correct. We don't put them into both pool.
okay, let's move
Yeah.
for next comment, and I need to check a little bit more, actually. I'm also getting confused. So,
What we concern is like if a member require for /24, a new member, right? They come to Ipv6, they got pool for /24. We put them into 103 pool. But if the 103 pool is always empty, but the recover pool may be plenty of space in some stage, like people return IPv4 after they got V6. So the huge bulk return to the recover pool. And then in that case, the recover pool can have a lot of space to delegate. But this new member, they only need a /24. They couldn't access to the recover pool because they has placed it in the file CSA 103 pool. They are all waiting there. That is the concern to the new member in the future, right? In that situation, but probably not in the next 3 years, maybe 5 years. But we can change the policy, of course. Probably in that time, people may change the policy later. That is okay. But based on what I can see, this proposal, we can implement it just based on the wording here. But later, if people found out that there's a problem, they can change the policy.
thank you, Lilian.
Owen DeLong, Concerned Internet Citizen. For a proposal that is intended to reduce or eliminate confusion, it seems to have created a great deal more. I don't understand the benefit of maintaining two separate queues once 103/8 is empty versus maintaining a single waiting list and having one pool that addresses come back into and maybe giving new entrants some level of priority queuing or something if we want to, but I don't even think that's necessary. I think once 103/8 is gone, you certainly had plenty of years of warning that IPv4 was running out. And if you're starting up a new service that depends on IPv4, well, you knew what you were getting into and you knew the job was dangerous when you took it. So I think it would be much simpler and much less confusing that once 103/8 is gone, we simply create one recovered pool. 103/8 space that comes back is treated as recovered space just like any other recovered space. And we have one waiting list for that space, and then everybody kind of understands that, right? Is there anybody who doesn't understand that process? Okay, so I think that would eliminate a lot more confusion, be a lot simpler to implement. Guang, correct me if I'm wrong, and solves the problem with a lot less hullabaloo. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, Aftab, you got the floor from the senior. So.
Okay. Aftab Siddiqui, a concerned internet citizen. I mean, I totally agree with Owen here. We were trying to solve the problem, not create more. So we had this discussion in the morning, reduce the complexity, not add more. So please don't add any more complexity to the already complex system. I would say just put one, and the biggest disagreement I have with this proposal is a /21. I'm not sure how Tomiro-san came up with this /21. From the recovered address pool, you can only get a /22. The maximum you can get is a /21 because you can get a /22 from 103/8 and a /22 from a recovered address pool. When the 103/8 is gone, that means you can only get a /22. So that's a flaw in this proposal. Otherwise, or he wants to change the existing policy of the recovered pool. And the second thing is, when we discussed it in the last meeting in Taichung, and the idea was whatever is left in terms of IPv4, the newcomers should be encouraged to get it. Whoever is in the waiting list right now, all of them has IPv4. So whoever is in the waiting list on top of it already has IPv4, and somebody joins the waiting list after 2 years, once 103 is gone, they have no chance to get anything. So I don't support this proposal.
Thank you, Aftab. Rajesh, thank you. Good to see you coming back. So
thank you, Suman.
Yep.
Rajesh Charya in my personal capacity. In 2008, when the IPv4 exhaustion was not a very prime thing, in August 2008, I moved a proposal number 53, which was adopted by the community thanks to community understanding at that time for reducing the IPv4 allocation, minimum allocation from /21 to /22. And now we again are still we are consisting for the /22, looking at the uses, looking towards the new entrants and the startups who require initially some IPv4 pool for their job or for their project. I suggest to Tomohiro to reduce this /22 to /24 if technically it is feasible. Because we have to long last the life of the IPv4 so that from August 8, 2008, if we should have not adopted that policy at that time, the IPv4 has exhausted a way back. So it's my suggestion that we should now consider /20, not /22, but /24. Thank you.
thank you, Rajesh. Awal?
My name is Awal. I'm also would like to be affiliated with the concerned internet citizens. And so my question, my question is, how many IP address we have in the recovered pool, and also how many IP address we have in the final /8? And then again, I'm really concerned that after a couple of years, when there will be no address in the last /8, and there will be plenty of addresses in the recovered pool, when the new new applicant should have priority over the existing one because they are gonna start. They are late. That's not their fault. Maybe the communities out there, like countries like Bangladesh, they started late, but we should actually facilitate and encourage them to get their resources from Ipv6, not the existing one. They should be less priority. They should have less priority, and the newcomers should have higher priority.
Thank you all for your comments. But Gonglang, do you want to say something that he wants some figures like that? How many 103 block left, and is there the size of the required pool you have at this moment?
Yeah, the size about 30% of the //A pool is still there, just I presented before, and that's empty for the recover pool at this stage. Yeah.
So you don't think that required pool has a huge amount of IP address left at this moment? But yes, the concern is right. Apta was raised the same concern that that new entrant should get priority, right? Thank you, Mr. Rajesh.
Brajesh, I'm joining the concerned Indian citizen queue, so I'm number 3. 4? Okay. So I agree with Owen and Aftab that we should have a simple single queue. And whether priority or otherwise, that could definitely be discussed, and as the community reaches the consensus, /24/22 also for the community, but there should be a single queue and not the 2 queues. Thank you.
So I will ask Aftab that or anyone actually that can you suggest that if we make a single queue, how are we actually going to prioritize the new entrants actually? So is there any comment on that? Anyone want to make? Because you should concern that new entrants should get priority in case of getting IP address from the required pool. Oh, I'm seeing the queue is getting longer. So when, so you jumped over the queue again? Please go ahead.
I was asked to go to the front of the line for whatever reason by the people behind me. Owen DeLong, concerned internet citizen. If you want to prioritize new entrants, absolutely, then you simply maintain one queue with a marker for where the border is between people that already have space and people that haven't got space yet. And you simply insert above that line if you don't have space when you put in your request, and go to the end of the very end of the queue if you do have space. It's pretty simple to do that.
Thank you, Owen. I'll go from this side actually. There's a long, older queue. So
Chair? Hello?
Oh, Tomino, you want to say something?
Yes.
Please.
Yeah, actually, the previous version of my proposal is to merge the 2 queue in one and prioritize their new users. But many people say they already have their long waiting queue for their existing pool. So this version, I try to keep the current policies as possible as I can, and so this version I create this version based on the last Ipv6 meeting discussion. Yeah, actually, the previous version is merging 2 queues in one and prioritize a new user. Which one is better?
Yeah, thank you. Tomino, we got your point that the earlier meeting, you proposed single queue. Probably the problem we're trying to solve is very difficult actually, that we have very limited resources. We want to prioritize new entrants. We want to give some IP address for the existing members. So as long as we get some IP address, that's challenge will be there. But we try to reach to the best possible solution. And thank you for your effort. And let's see what other on the queue wanting to comment on your proposal.
Hi, as Dmitry from Ukraine, I'm mildly surprised, RIPE NCC member looking at this. I have 2 questions. Of course, it's simple to treat all of AP space as AP space period, like Owen said. I don't think how people can see otherwise. And recovered space is just in this space. So I would say the single pool to me is the most important thing. And then the second, when you say priority queue, okay, if you want to treat it like an airport and have a first class passengers and economy class passengers, and whenever there is a first class passenger, he goes first. Well, guess what? If you treat all of the newcomers as a priority, then the no priority would never have the service, right? So I think it's better maybe first to combine all the IP resources into the allocatable blocks, then maybe discuss how much you want to give to newcomers and old-timers separately. Maybe newcomers should get /22 and the old-timers should get /23. These are examples. And then last, maybe either divide this pool into proportional, like say 2/3 of all IP address space is allocated to newcomers, people who don't have any space yet, and the rest is others. But again, these ratios and these sizes should be separately discussed. I just feel like you should de facto discussion into how do you manage IP space, how do you manage priority, how much space each newcomer or non-newcomer get, and then maybe another policy about recovery of addresses, which is probably now going through the global reallocation, but that's, okay, that's from INC years, I remember the global reallocation. So having said that, I think that the problem with the current proposal that it tries to combine several things into one package, and it's wrong. You should just discuss this separately on each merits. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Simon here from Bangladesh. My comment is that we want to connect to the next billion, right? So that if you see the next billion, it's in like in this subcontinent, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, and all. So the thing is that if we connect to the next billion, we need IP addresses and we need ISPs. We need new entrants. So if we approve this proposal, then it will stop those new entrants. That is one. Second thing again, I told in the morning, right? We will encourage IPv6. So if you still encourage those old people who has money, who has network, and who has brain to use IPv6, so rather than encourage those, we should encourage the new. So that is why I don't want to. I am discouraging this proposal. And another thing is that why we are making this again complex. We have two recover pools, one for the new, one for the olds. So please keep it like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Savan. Aftab?
Aftab Siddiqui, since the proposer mentioned Taichung, where the older version of this proposal was discussed, and so I'm repeating my suggestion. Once we hit the exhaustion of the last /8, we should immediately abolish the waiting list. Why? Because whoever is in the waiting list already have IPv4 address space, at least /22. And once new entrants and new members apply for IPv4 address space, they should get it from the whatever is left. So existing waiting list should be abolished the moment you hit last assignment after from the /8. That was my suggestion last time. It was people didn't like it, not even the proposer. So I'm just suggesting it again if it makes sense now. Thank you.
Thank you, Aftab. Zain.
Yeah, I'm Zia Mabli from Vincis Networks. I have a different perspective view on this. I'll give a good example. This is look like a labor room issue with mom, kid, or doctor. So the kid is a newcomer, the mom is existing one, the doctor is the address pool who's going to assign it. So if you see that you can save the mom first, so and you will kill the kid. If you want to save the kid, then you will kill the mom. So it's all depend on the doctor has to decide that one. I'll be happy if the doctor take the decision whom to give the priority easily. So by case, if you can take it, and if you consider, and if you assign it, it will be good. Thank you.
Thank you. Awal?
Hi, Awal again, concerned Indian citizen. I want to iterate one's thought. It should be one queue, and it's very easy to prioritize there. No problem. Newcomers will come. Based on their date of application, they're gonna go up. If there is another newcomer comes after them, they're gonna get the second position, something like this. all the people who have already the IPv4 address, they can run their network. IPv6 is there. They should be encouraged to deploy IPv6. New people, they should get higher priority. And Aftab Bhai was saying a very good thing to abolish the existing queue, I think, as soon as you hit exhaustion in last /8.
Thank you, Awal. I hope
Absolutely.
Tamiru is following. Tamiru, are you listening to the comments? Probably he's muted. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Just now I have no comment. Just I want to hear the opinion of the colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you, Tamiru. So listen, and whenever you want to talk, please jump in. So, Mr. Parr.
Yeah. Again, as a concerned internet citizen. Number 6. So, what we need to understand is, why did we go in for 103/8 pool? The whole purpose of that, as what others also said, to reduce the pool size also. The whole purpose was that newcomers who are coming into the market now, they should be able to get at least some resources. So it was decided, okay, we'll have a separate list for that, so let that list remain. It has already been done, so it is done. Now the issue is that suppose these people, we get a recovery from 103/8, so that recovery goes into that same pool, it doesn't go to the general pool. And it is meant to service the newcomers only. That is why this list should remain, number 1. 2, as a member of APNIC, the newcomer is also entitled to his position on the general pool. So let his name also remain on the general pool, like what the Secretariat said, that tomorrow, 2 years later, 3 years down the line, if too many recoveries take place, maybe that pool might move faster. Fine. So let that also move. As and when /103/8 pool finishes is a different story. What Aftab said, yes, at that time the lists can be merged because there will be only one this thing left, and at that time only the newcomer should remain on the list and the other list should finish, should be abolished. That's what my view is.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Parr.
Owen DeLong, concerned internet citizen. I just feel the need to clarify one thing. Although I did offer a mechanism for absolute prioritization, I don't favor prioritization. I'd like to reiterate, you've had 3+ years of 103/8 out there that people can get space from. It's going to go for probably at least another year or so before it runs out. If IANA running out, plus a year, plus APNIC running out of general free pool, plus 4 years of 103/8, hasn't convinced people that if you're starting a new IP-based business, it needs to be on V6, nothing's going to. And so prioritizing people that choose to start a new IPv4 dependent business a year from now, I don't see the benefit to the internet or the community or really even the people starting the business from doing that. It just strikes me as a very odd form of subsidy.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed.
Hi, I'm Rajesh again. One more suggestion. I believe that 103/8 is under full control of APNIC. So why can't we have something like that, the allocated IP of 103 pool, if it is not being used for a couple of years or not announced at all, should be by default recovered, right? Because it's a precious resource, and if somebody is just holding it for the sake of holding and not utilizing it for 2 years, because then it has to be recovered.
Thank you, but I don't know. It's possible you can come up with that kind of proposal as well, but
see, because when we are applying, APNIC and our regional RIRs are already asking that how many you will be using it for next 6 months, 1 year, 2 year. If somebody is not used it for 2 years, right, it has to be by default recovered.
okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's a bold and aggressive suggestion. So I think I'll close the queue now. We are actually running out of time. So Aftab is going to be your last comment.
Yes, of course, after me. Thank you. Aftab Siddiqui. I mean, I would love to see another proposal from my friend Rajesh. So that would be really interesting in New Caledonia, right? So yes, let's talk about realities. Current waiting list, 421 people. What was the last recovered pool we got from Ayana? We won't be able to give it to 10 people. This is the state of recovered pool. So what are we talking about? We don't have IPv4 addresses for the waiting list. I would reiterate, abolish the waiting list. They all have IPv4 address spaces already. The idea was, as Bahar Saab suggested, it's like it was supposed to be for the new entrants. Those new entrants, 421 of them, already have V4. Tough luck, no more IPv4. Whatever recovered, whatever is residual left, should be for the new entrants moving forward. And probably in coming months and years, it won't be much. Nobody's returning any IPv4 addresses anymore. They're selling it on the market. So it's, I think, as far as this proposal is concerned, everybody has shared their opinion. Nobody supports it. The only moving forward bit is if we can abolish the existing one and assign probably 24, as Rajesh Saab said, to the new entrant only. That's it. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Aftab. Tamuri, if you want to make any last comment before I go for a consensus.
Hello? Yeah, just now, no comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Tamira. So we have got a lot of different suggestions, some aggressive, some abolishing the policy, some suggested for a single pool, some suggested for double pool, two different pool. There are suggestions for prioritizing in a pool for the new entrants, but I know it's a difficult problem, and whatever policy we make, at some point of time, it's not going to work, so we have to go for IPv6. That's the last destination. So while we should try to do that, but as long as we have something, let's try to do best utilization of it. And thank you, Tamiro, for the proposal. I want to go for the consensus, the proposal we have heard already, that having a two different pool, when the 103 will exhaust it, then there will be a separate pool for 103 there and a separate pool for existing report pool as it is. So, as I mentioned earlier, I'll give 5 options. If you support the proposal, or if you strongly support the proposal, or if you're neutral, if you object the proposal, or if you strongly object the proposal. So I'll start with number 1. Those you are supporting the proposal, please put your hands up. And can you please turn on the conference system now? So those who are supporting, please raise your hand. Thank you. So I will go for the next option. If you strongly support this proposal, please put your hand up. Those who strongly support the proposal. No. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, if you're neutral about the proposal, please put your hand up. I've asked to go a bit slow because it takes some time to do things in conference. Yeah. So thank you. Next, if you object the proposal, please put your hand up. Thank you very much. And I'm not seeing any contrary opinion this time. So remote participants probably are still not here with us. So the next and the last, if you strongly object to the proposal, please put your hand up. If you strongly object to the proposal, it's fine. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's working probably. Yeah, it's working, but so from the temperature of the room, from the feedback we have received, so we can say that the proposal doesn't raise consensus, Tomohiro. So you think more, and I know it's a very difficult challenge, but Adam, you want to add something?
If I may, Chair, Adam Gosling from the Secretariat. I wonder if we could help Tomohiro by just taking a temperature of the room on a couple of items, one pool or two pools, priority for newcomers or not priority, large space, small space. We could just do for and against just to get a bit of a feel, because at the moment Tomohiro has been bouncing from one side to another, and people, there's clearly no consensus. We don't even have any points of commonality at the moment. And so maybe if we can just say one or two pools, priority for newcomers or not, I think that would at least give us a way forward.
Yeah, actually the issue is that there's a different opinion, different strong opinion. Some are saying that we don't need any pool for the existing members. So whatever we covered afterward, the 103 exhaustion will go for the newcomer. There's one option. There's a proposal for that we have a single pool, and we can do prioritization on that. That for the newcomer. Yeah, I think Tomohiro should be able to see us here. So, and I think there's a video, so Tomohiro can actually watch that later on to get the feedback from the floor. So you can take your time and try to address the issues. I know it's very difficult, but you can. We should try for it as long as we can continue to give Ipv4 address space for the new entrants. So with that, I want to close this proposal discussion, and it will going back to mailing list and Tomohiro. And we can discuss more in mailing list. I think that we are not discussing much on the mailing list rather than discussing here. So that will actually help us to revise the proposal, and we can really come to a conclusion here in the meeting. So I will encourage everyone to participate more in the mailing list actively. And now I want to move to few more proposals standing here in front of us. Barton, do you want to continue with that from here? Thank you, Tomohiro, once again, and a big applause for Tomohiro. He's the fought for the policies here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tomohiro.
Okay, so now we are back with the Prop 119 and 118, which were almost abandoned. We have received no information from their author, David Elayo, as if we should abandon it or keep it or whatever. One of his former colleagues came to us, Luhang, and he wishes to take the proposal for himself and put them back online. Yeah. So for the principle, we it's going to be the same if we reject the proposal and Luhang starts new one with just a copy and paste. So it's going to be easier for the community to keep the same proposal numbers so they can keep following the discussion flow from the start to right now. But just to have a view of the community, we would like to know if you will support or not support this retake of the proposals. So, do you want a reminder of the Prop 118 and 119 before going? Okay. So where is it? Hang on. Lost. I've lost it. It's on the screen. Oh, it's on the screen. Okay. Excellent. Well, it's on the screen, so I'm not going to invent anything. Remove the requirement to demonstrate need when transferring IPv4 addresses into or within the APNIC region. Exception where resources are from an area region requiring need-based policies where recipients must provide a planned use of at least 50% of the resources within 5 years. Would not apply to AS transfers. So the status of this proposal did not reach consensus. It was meant to return to the mailing list, as said before. So I would like to ask the floor if you would accept Luhang to retake this proposal for himself and put it back to the mailing list, or should we just drop it as he will anyway just redo it again? So to make it easier, we think it's okay for Luhang to retake this proposal, but I would like to have your opinion now. So those of you who do not support this retake, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. And those who agree with it and will let Luhang retake this proposal, please raise your hand. 1, 2. Oh, well. So we've got 2 against and 2 not against, or 2 for. So it's up to us. After this government, please.
Hi, Aftab Siddiqui. I just need to have a clarification question. When you say those who agree, I was just reading it from there, it's just scrolling. So, I'm not clear with what the question is here.
The thing is, we don't want to decide on ourselves. It's a community-based system, so we want to ask the community if they will allow Luhang to retake the proposal for himself, because David Alayo just vanished and didn't answer as if he wanted to drop the proposal, abandon it, or allow Luhang to take it over. So it's just to simplify the discussion flow. So we keep the same number, and it's not a new proposal saying exactly the same as the one that was dropped. It's just to keep the flow of the discussion on the same level. It's the different author, but the content will be almost the same. So it's just to take over.
May I respond to that? Yeah. So the problem. So I don't have any problem somebody else picking it up and explaining it further. But the issue is, since it was sent back to the mailing list, no changes were made. Exactly. So if we start the discussion, we will be at the same stage as we were in Taichung. So if your question is, do you have any reservation or concern if somebody else picks it up? No, I don't have any reservation. But what is the outcome?
Well, the outcome is that once Luhang will take over the prop, it will have to go back to the mailing list with the amendment required because it didn't reach consensus in Taichung. So we can't accept the prop to be represented exactly the same way it was rejected.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So that's what my understanding was. So I just want to
The
clarify.
question is just, do we drop the prop and have Luheng do a new one, or do we accept Luheng to just take over the prop and rewrite it, well, amend it?
Okay.
I have a question. The thing is that we are fighting for this 118 for 2 epinic, right? Yeah. And then it will be third one. And David, I don't know where is David, but we didn't get any concern from David that we are talking about his proposal, but he's not here. And my question is that whether the chair, co-chair, the ethnic secretariat got any information that David is passing this one to any other person?
No, that's why we're asking the community for that.
No,
because
if we don't get anything
it would have
from
been
David,
much easier if David would have said, no, I'm dropping the prop, or I don't care, do what you want. Just any answer.
Yes, we need an answer from David, one.
Well, there is no answer.
Second thing is that there is no change in the last prop. Like if it goes to the ML, there should be some changes.
Exactly.
So there is no changes. So I think we should discard it.
Yeah. Now, the only thing is, do we accept Luheng to take over the prop or not? It's not about the content of the prop, it's just the principle, because David can't be reached, it doesn't answer. So we're in a new situation, and we didn't want to decide on ourselves.
Pardon, I'm agreeing with you. Anyone can take that prop, even anyone, right? Fine, no problem. Second thing is that there is no changes I'm seeing, exact word. That is my concern.
Yeah, thank you. But that's the second point. Please.
Owen DeLong, Concerned Internet Citizen. As I see it, the community is faced with a choice A and a choice B. Choice A yes vote, says Luheng can take this over and modify it and bring it back to the next meeting with whatever changes he makes. Choice B is we discard the current existing text and history and whatnot and consider it abandoned, and Luheng copies and pastes and submits a whole new proposal with the same exact outcome. The only question is, do we preserve the discussion thread as a single thread or not? So choice A, preserve the discussion thread with Luheng as the new author. Choice B, start all over with Luheng as the author of a new proposal that looks remarkably like the current one. That's it, people. That's the choice you're faced with. Yeah. It's the only choice we're making here.
It's not a big issue, actually, that if it is the important thing to discuss, so we need to continue. As well as the proposal is not available, so and Luheng want to volunteer to contribute with that. So as long as this thing didn't happen earlier, so we go to the community to ask the questions. So it's easy, nothing much. so please, we just need to support to move forward. And so, yeah, you're continuing. So go for the consensus.
Yeah, so we'll ask again quickly. Who agrees to keep on the discussion with the same prop number, with Luheng dealing with the prop? And, okay, and those against? Okay, so Luheng will continue with the same prop number. And, well, you can talk now.
Thank you for the community. I understand that the proposal needs to be modified to be further getting consensus on, but I would like to have this meeting as an opportunity to gather the suggestions for my next amendment. So hopefully we can have a consensus next time. Would that be possible with you, Chair?
Yep. Yeah, well, we're running out of time, sorry. So,
Luheng, we would love to give you some time, but unfortunately we are running out of time. So please come up quickly to the mailing list and let's have discussion there and get the feedback from there. Those who want to talk about it, please raise your voice in the mailing list and give Luheng feedback to come up with a revised proposal in the next meeting in New Caledonia.
Okay, I appreciate that, but if we can have a few minutes, it'd be really appreciated, because our mailing list is not exactly the most active mailing list, I'm afraid to say that.
Yeah, I agree, and let us encourage everyone to be more active in the mailing list, actually, so that we can really have less discussion and more decision here. So I'll again encourage everyone to be a little more active in the mailing list, and thank you, Luang, for coming up.
Appreciate it.
And we are already end of our session. Thank you very much for the lively discussions, comments, feedbacks, and oh, there's one important message to go, actually, that Ethnic every 2 years conduct a survey, and this survey feedbacks are very, very important, and that helps to how actually Ethnic should work and take future decision. So, and its survey will start in around June for 4 weeks, so conducted by several mentors. So please participate, give your feedbacks, and that will definitely improve Ethnic to serve better. And survey results will be presented in Ipv6 in New Caledonia, Numia, right? Yep. Thank you very much.